we all know that we are talking about stress. Its effects on mental health and then productivity. So we know how to take care of our physical, social, and spiritual health, but don't know how to manage our mental health. And we need to also realize one thing, that mental health is like at the center, like a fulcrum on which other aspects of health revolve around. There is no health without mental health. So this training will provide you with the strategies, tools, and tactics necessary to retain resilience during these times of uncertainty. We know that we are in a very serious time, uncertainty in the area of health, the area of economy, and so many other aspects of our lives. So we need to maintain our to take care of our mental health, especially in a very important time like this. And a very important thing to talk about is stress, which can be a precursor to mental illness. So what we are going to talk about are, these are the outlines. We talk about the definition of health. This will link us to the definition of mental health also. We talk about stress, stressors, and the sequelae of stress. We also talk about coping with stress, especially in a time like this, and how to develop yourself mentally to prevent psychiatric ailments. And we're going to do a brief overview to summarize everything and do a brief overview. So what is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being. This is according to World Health Organization. So I'm putting spiritual well-being. This emphasis is mine. So it's not the World Health Organization did not put, they don't include spiritual well-being. I'm just including this. And it's not merely the absence of disease. So you can see that I'm underlying mental health because it's very, very important. Because we lay so much emphasis on our physical health, but we ignore the other aspect. We lay so much emphasis on our physical, social, spiritual well-being, but we lay less emphasis on the mental aspect of it. So what is mental health? So mental health, there are 7 parameters I'm going to talk about here, which we need to take cognizance of, not just for today, but for our subsequent day-to-day lives. So health is a state of well-being, where well-being is very important, where one realizes his full potential. That means if you are performing below your full potential, it's not good enough. And where one can cope with stress of life, So this third aspect is what we are looking so much, we are laying so much emphasis on today. And where you can work productively and fruitfully, and productive working can be a kind of addendum to the stress. And you can contribute to your community, deal with inner world of thinking and feeling, which is also known as inner world of fantasies. And you can initiate and sustain mutual relationship with others. So those 7 points, these 7 points are very, very important. So this will now lead us to the main topic. And we also need, as we are proceeding further, we need to know that stress is part of life. There's little or nothing you can do about it. The only person without stress is a dead person. This was said by a great scientist, and Seal. So stress means feeling troubled or threatened by life. You feel troubled, you feel threatened by life. So everyone experiences stress at times. A little bit of stress is not a problem. At times, a little bit of stress is not a problem. So when we move further, I will explain what this means, because there are 2 types of stress. We have the eustress and distress. Eustress is the initial part of stress, whereby the more the stress, the better your productivity. But it will get to a time that it becomes a distress, and your productive capacity will be going down as law of diminishing return will be setting in. So, but very high stress often affects the body. Many people get unpleasant feelings because of stress. So this picture, we can look at it at our own closet to really understand what it means. That is a process. that leads to stress and the sequelae of stress. So, because when you are stressed or you cannot focus, you get angry easily, cannot sit still, you have difficult sleeping, you feel sad or guilty. That's one of the symptoms of depression. You are worried, anxiety, you cry a lot. There's what we call weepy spell. It can also be seen in mood disorders. So you feel so tired, because some people cannot even explain the level of tiredness. Their level of tiredness is one of the core symptoms of depression. And you have changes in appetite. So when you have changes in appetite, it's also one of the, we call it somatic symptom of depression. Changes in appetite, changes in libido, all sorts of things like that, poor sleep. Those are the somatic symptoms, or we call it melancholy symptoms of depression. And many of us think a lot about bad things from the past, or bad things we fear in the future because of stress. So in stressful situations, difficult thoughts and feelings hook us, and we are pulled away from our values. So excessive continuous stressors become distressing, leading to mental health challenges, which lowers productivity at work, adversely affecting our quality of life. Because when our productive capacity is lowered, we are afraid that we may lose our job, or we may lose our position at our places of work. And if care is not taken, if you are not, if you don't do anything to take care of this, it may have a serious negative impact on us. So this is just a diagram to illustrate when most of us, when we wake up in the morning or in the early part of our lives, we carry our goals, our dreams on our hands, and we are looking at the finishing points. We are looking, our goals, our dreams are just like the vision we have maybe for the future. And we are looking, we put everything into our life day in, day out. Those are our missions on how to achieve those goals. So that at the end of the day, we feel fulfilled. We not look back and see, have some regrets. But there are some distractions around us, which could be categorized as part of the stressors that we have. We have friends who call us for one thing or the other. They want you to solve their problems. And we have some pessimists around you who don't even believe in your dreams in the first place, who will tell you, you are biting more than you could chew. And we have the society expectations. The society expects so much from you. They know you are a doctor. You expect to be able to live above certain level of life. You're supposed to do this, supposed to be able to do that. But right inside you know your level, you know your capacity. Because you who has the stomach is the only one that can recognize the threshold of satiety that you will have. Please, please, someone that is over there, someone, please, I need you to mute your speaker, please. And the relatives, also the guilt about your present status, the fear of the future, and the guilt about the past, the fear of the future, all those things are distractions. So stress, this now takes us back to stress again. Stress is any circumstances that threaten or are perceived to threaten one's well-being, and that thereby tax one's coping ability. Yes, even the best organized city in the world, I think it used to be Vancouver in Canada. I'm not sure if anything has changed now. The best organized city in the world has one thing or the other that could give people stress. It may just be weather conditions and global warming. Please, can that person someone's speaker is on, someone's mic is on and it's causing a distraction here. Please, the host, help me mute the person, please. Okay. Can I move on? Can I move on now? Are you hearing me?
Yes, please, you may move on.
Okay. Any stimulus event or demand impacting on the sensory nervous system to be categorized as stress or stressor. So the body's automatic response to any physical or mental demand. Please, if I say some special words, some registered words, and you are not too familiar or comfortable with, I will be able to. I should be able to. If I'm not explaining now, I will explain later. So the body's automatic response to any physical or mental demand would be stress on its own, because I will explain that one as we move further. And stress arouses a physiological response. There are some automatic physiological responses that go along with stress, which we call fight or flight response. Fight or flight response. It depends on the level of the stimulus. It depends on the magnitude of the stimulus. For example, if you face, some of us, we live in Lagos, we know how security situations are. You know, if you face a someone a small thief, like a pickpocketer, what do they call them? If you know, try to fight the person because the thing belongs to you. But if you face an armed robber, someone that is holding a gun in his hand, you tend to take a flight. So that shows the magnitude of the problem. And we also need to know that stress is inevitable. Stress is inevitable. You live. As you live, you must have one form of stress or the other. And stress generates both positive and negative responses. So negative life events that can be a source of stressor include life-threatening illnesses like diabetes, hypertension. These are chronic illnesses, and not too chronic ones like malaria, COVID-19, especially in the last 2-3 years. This has been the pandemic we've been facing the world over, and has been a major source of stress to so many people. Not just the illness on its own, but the fear of what the outcome will be. Then death of loved ones, loss of job, or threats of loss of job, which this pandemic brought, because so many jobs were lost. And then reversal of fortune. Especially, there was a time, maybe around 2017, 2016, 2017, whereby some Ponzi scheme came around. One of them is MMM. Some people invested their hard-earned fortune into some of these schemes, which eventually they lost. And it was a major thing. Loss of money, divorce or separation. Divorce or separation in the aspect of the spouse, and also in the aspect of their children or their loved ones. This could be, and the positive life event also could be a stressor on its own, whereby someone can have what we call adjustment disorder. For example, is getting married. Getting married is really a major issue for you to adjust to their spouse. For example, if you have a wide, the way you are brought up, they are wide apart. So adjusting to one and to each other may be a major issue. Then pregnancy, yes, that can be could be a major stressor in the life of a woman. It's a physiological change, but it doesn't come so easy, especially the first trimester. The childbirth, yes, childbirth, being a mother is a major issue. Then moving homes, you want to move to a new home, so you have to face the challenges in the new home. It's a good thing, but then if you have promotion without adequate training for that promotion, they expect you to learn on the job. Maybe social issues. This is our Lagos. This may be a form of stress to some people. Some people are so happy that we are in the dry season now. By the time the rainy season comes, so many parts of the city will become something else. So social causes, difficult spouses, uncooperative children, hostile home environments. In fact, this in sibling rivalry, poverty, poor communication skills, poor team members. And then this is a kind of an instrument to measure the stress scale especially among youth. You can look about that, can look into that later. Positive aspect of stress is that there's motivation to work. There's motivation to work, more creativity. So because the more you are stressed up, the more you are motivated to get a positive outcome out of that stress, then more creativity. Some people, I know some people, especially when we're in the medical school, they don't have that motivation to read and pass that exam until the exam is like 2 weeks. Whereas some of us, we know that we have to start very early for us to make a kind of headway. But these people, you see them while others are reading, they will be playing around. But because they know it's only when they are very close to that exam that the adrenaline will pump them up, and then they have more determination, more energy, more self-belief. Stress makes you to have more self-belief, positive emotions such as challenge, achievement, and pride. But the caveat here is that we need to know that this will be the early part of stress, whereby the performance is directly proportional to the level of stress. But to get to a time, I will show her so this next graph. This is what we call Yerkes-Dodson curve, whereby the level of stress on the y-axis is plotted against the performance on the x-axis. So we discovered that in the initial aspect of it, the more you are stressed up, the more the performance. Can see the graph, can see the way the graph is. But it's got to this level where this line was drawn. So in the early parts, you feel challenged, you have the will to win, you have the excitement about winning. So this is the level of the healthy stress, which is also called eustress, EUSTRESS. But by the time the line is drawn here, it's becoming a distress. So stress level is increasing, increasingly, but the performance is going down, it's declining. So this is the unhealthy stress, which decreases the performance. Here, fear will come in, anger, helplessness, and the likes. So that is that. We know, we were taught Hooke's law in physics in secondary school. However, we know that the force applied to the elastic instrument said it's directly proportional to the extension. That's provided the elastic limit is reached. So at this point, the elastic limit is reached here, then distress comes in. So overview of the stress process, not to take much of our time. Yeah. So potentially stressful objective events, for example, a major exam, a big date, trouble with one's boss, or a financial setback, potentially stressful objective events. But subjective cognitive appraiser, also, this will lead to subjective cognitive appraiser. You have personalized perception of threats, which are influenced by familiarity with the events, its controllability, its predictability, and so on. The emotional response will come in, physiological response and behavioral response. Emotional response, you have annoyance, anger, anxiety, fear, dejection, and grief. Well, physiological response, autonomic arousal. Like I said earlier on, autonomic arousal. Here we have sympathetic response. Your heart rate goes up. There is hormonal fluctuations, neurochemical changes, the neurotransmitters, they come into play. The serotonin, the dopamine, the adrenaline, they come into place, and so on. So, and behavioral response will be coping efforts. Try to make coping efforts, such as you lash out at others, you blame yourself, sometimes you minimize the problem, you try to project the problem on others. So you can seek help. These are the positive ones. You try to solve the problem. You swim yourself into the problem and try to solve it. And you try to release your emotion. So response to stress emotionally. So I don't think I should be wasting so much time on this. I've spoken about some of them earlier on. So effect of stress, behavioral and physiological. So effects include impaired task performance. The productive level goes down. the burnout. So we discover that there are so many. In fact, this is an area of study in the health sector now. So many people are getting burnout because of this. There's what we call Japa syndrome in Nigeria now. So many health workers are moving out in droves. I know it's not only in Nigeria. I think it's happening in Ghana over there too, because of the economic situation. People want to have a better remuneration. They want to work in a more conducive environment. So the remaining people who are on ground, they have to share the works others are leaving behind. So a lot of burnout are setting, psychological problems and disorders coming positive effects. In fact, the psychological problems among the health workers is becoming a major issue now. So many people are having anxiety. We have seen them in the clinic. So many are having depressive disorder, though may not be that significant enough, but this is one. These are the things that we have seen. So, and also in the other aspect of the population also. So let's so stress can lead to unhappiness. I'm just trying to make these things simple as possible, because I don't know the extent the audience will understand, but I'm trying to simplify it. So when you are not happy in life, it brings about certain unconscious changes in your brain. Yeah, chemicals are released from the brain into the blood. Got these chemicals in the transmitters. I mentioned them earlier on. The adrenaline, your cortisol level increase, dopamine, serotonin. These chemicals affect your organs such as heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, genitals. Yeah, genitals, because of this level of this chemical, a lot of men, they're having erectile dysfunction. A lot of women are having frigidity, and there is low libido and the likes. Brain, it's affecting the brain. The anxiety level is affecting the brain. Depression, all those sorts of things. Then I've said that we Africans, we tend to somatize our emotional problems. We tend to somatize our physiological problems. That's why so many people complain of pain here, every now and then, every day. Some have treated malaria several times, thinking it was malaria that was responsible. But at the end of the day, discovered that the problem is more psychological than physical. So with unhappiness, your performance and productivity will reduce at home and work. So at home and work, you just keep on procrastinating. With the turnover of the work is getting lower and lower. So immune system becomes weak, becomes vulnerable to infection and infestations, for example, COVID-19, malaria, and typhoid fever. So because your immunity is low, because this is how your psychological state affects your immunity and vice versa. So mental activities are affected, and concentration, attention, and memory may be impaired. Yes, that's why they call depression pseudo dementia. Pseudo means fake dementia. Dementia has something mainly to do with memory. But when you are depressed, there is loss of concentration. So, and once you lose concentration, you not be able to remember those things that you're supposed to remember at will. So physical illnesses may occur in some part of the body. So because there is a kind of link, it's like a cycle. Whatever affects you mentally will have an impact on your body. Because your level of the cortisol, when the level of cortisol in your bloodstream increases, when it increases, you tend to have glucose impairment. Glucose metabolism metabolism of glucose will be impaired. Then you can accumulate more glucose into your system. Such an individual may eventually have what we call diabetes. So, and once you have diabetes, then hypertension and vice versa. So this is what I told you earlier on. It's called fight or flight. So when you encounter a pickpocket, you can fight it. But when you encounter an armed robber, that can be a response to stress. You will run for your life. So we fight for what we can handle, or run away from what can hurt us. So we talk about this. The signs of unhappiness. Yeah, you can have muscle aches, crawling pain, and sensation. I said earlier on, we Africans, we tend to somatize. We tend to present a physical complaint about our problem because we believe this will be more acceptable. Poor sleep, poor appetite, weight loss, chest pain, fatigue, overeating, and then oversleeping. Abnormal coping signs. So we can have adaptive and maladaptive coping signs. So, for example, abnormal coping signs could be abuse of alcohol, not only alcohol, other substances of abuse, marijuana, cigarettes or nicotine, smoking, nail biting, binge eating. Some may even get to the extent of causing harm to themselves. We have some patients when they have when they are in a state of distress, what they do is to cut themselves. You see some wounds on their hands because they believe once they inflict pain on themselves, that's when they feel better. So then over religiosity can also set. Yes, I make over religiosity bold because most of us we tend to ignore it. We will not see it as a problem, but it's to be a major problem. That's when you see people being more around religious program. But at the end of the day, they are not really getting so much from it. They are just they are working for God, but they are not really working with God. So the over socialization, you see some people, every event they are invited to, they go, they attend because they feel that's the only way. That's the only way they can run away from the inner problem they are having. So when they are, but the moment they leave those social events, they come home, they go back into their to their shell. So absenteeism of presenteeism. Some people absent from work. Some people, even when they are not expected to be at work, you see them at work because they know there are some inner problems there. Then loss of libido, frigidity in women, weak erection, premature ejaculation, impotence, spouse battery. So spouse battery, you unleash the hunger on your spouse. So how do you perceive your problem? This is a question I'm trying to ask us. So how do you see this glass? Is this half filled or half empty? So you need to know that behind every disappointment, there is a blessing. So try to minimize that problem. When life gives you lemon, make lemonade out of it. And when life gives you cola, and make Coca-Cola out of it. So that is like preventing excessive stress. You need to be physically active. Get sufficient sleep. Physically active, you mean exercise. When you are physically active, it means that you allow the release of feel good hormone. We call it endorphin. And endorphin. When you have the level of that hormone in your system, if you can warn me if I'm getting out of time, you can warn me if I'm getting out of time. So if
Hello, Doc.
listening, need to allow time for recreation, engage in effective time management. So, uh,
Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, doctor just dropped out. We would find out. I think there's a problem with his line. We'll try and bring him back as quickly as possible. In the meantime, can you kindly share your questions or your comments so that we collate them as we try to reach doctor and bring him back on? Thank you. Doctor, you're welcome back. Can you kindly
Yeah.
proceed?
Yeah, it's my network here. Sorry. Oh. Okay. Sorry, are you hearing me now?
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry for the interruption. I
No
will try
problem.
to make everything snappy now. So build your physical reserves. For you to be physically fit, you must exercise for like 30. I've said the reason. So exercise increases heartbeats to 100 beats per minute, and you can go to a gym. If you don't have if you don't have an access to a gym, you can play your favorite sports around your area. Walking, the form of exercise, biking. Because some of us, we maybe like sometimes we need to park our cars and take a walk, maybe to the nearest bus stop. And then not every day, perhaps maybe because of security situation, we don't want to do that, but just find time to be active. That's the most important thing. So benefits of physical fitness, these are the benefits. You have the mental and physical strength to go after difficult goals when you exercise. So because it will reverse the arousal fight or flight response, and it lowers heart rate and decrease. In the long run, it lowers your heart rate. And that's why, because the muscles, the smooth muscles of your heart is well toned, and then the blood pressure will be decreased, and you have a good stamina, endurance level you had. So we need to know that life is short. You need to smile while you are where you stay active. So humor therapy is also a form of another means of coping with stress. You can learn to be happy at all times, even during stressful period. You need to keep the emotional quotient skills. Laughter is the medicine of all ailments, and the Bible says that laughter is a good medicine. So laughter relaxes, humor therapy relaxes the brain and body. That is why people, the rich ones, are paying so much to attend for all these people to come and minister to them. Hello. Okay. It increases your immunity and prevents infection. To laugh at yourself, at your mistakes and frustrations in life. I remember one of our best players in Nigeria here. He misses a good chance. Then anytime he misses good chance, he will smile. Who are saying that he wasn't serious about? But recently they interviewed him. He said those times he was just using all those smiles to cope, because he was ashamed of himself that guy missed this kind of a chance. So sometimes you need to do that to yourself, so your emotion cannot be happy and sad at the same time. So the music and dance therapy is also very important. You need to listen to good music when sad, dance to old or new school music, learn to play musical instruments. Now we have opportunities of carrying music tracks of music in our phones. Can use this opportunity. Listen to stress management audio music, and relaxation techniques is also very important. Be alone at least for 30 minutes every day to meditate. This breathing exercise, which is what we call breathing. You inhale for 5 seconds, hold breath for 5 seconds, and exhale for 10 seconds. So it works a lot. It's one of the psychological means of dealing with anxiety disorder. So it works. So through the mouth, so they positives. Then mindfulness. The question I'm asking you is: your mindful or you are mindful? So the first one, your mind is too full. You are going to be distracted. to experience distractions. You will not be organized. But if you are mindful, it's a good one. So if you are mindful, take care of important things and chase those less important things out. So benefit of relaxation. So yeah, we know this. Let me, because of time. Then let's quickly go to it to see of work-life imbalance management. Here is that you need to be alone for at least 30 minutes per day. Try to do this. Most of us are so busy, but we are so busy that we don't even have time to mind our own personal business. So we need to do this. Breakfast, yeah. Eat like a king in the morning, a prince at noon, and a pauper at night. So you accept it's very, very important. You have a reason to do it. Maybe you are fasting. Don't skip your breakfast. So it's very important. It's an important meal of the day. So you are what you eat. Question is, do you eat to kill or clean the system? They say that a great percentage of us dig our graves, our forks and knives. So change is the only thing that is constant. You need to know this. So learn to quickly adapt to sudden changes of life. For example, in the last 3 years, there were some changes due to the pandemic. The fact that we are having this meet on the Zoom is the one aspect of change that people have utilized. The only thing that is constant in life is change. Then you need to delegate duties to subordinates. Don't try to do everything on your own. It doesn't say so good things about you. That means your leadership quality is called to question. You are trying to do everything, and at the same time, that means you don't have followers. So eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Forgive and forget past painful issues. Yes, the reason why you need to forgive is for the sake of yourself, then for the sake of others, then for the sake of the God. That even if you don't believe in God, you still need to know there are reasons why you need to forgive. Then you need to set smart goals. Smart means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time. So remove I can't from your life. Remove I can't. So what are the 8 important life goals? Spiritual goals, physical goals, mental, emotional goals, social networking goals, family goals, educational goals, technological goals, and someone is putting on.
Dash diet.
Someone is putting on, please. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You need to realize this. So if your plan A doesn't work, the alphabet has 25 more letters. So stay cool. So they have plan B, plan C to plan Z. So what is that?
Doc,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to know if we can pause for now and then start the question and answer.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe the questions will also bring up other things. Then
So no problem.
okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Doc.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay. So to save time, we'll kindly ask that any questions that participants have, please leave them in the chat. We will collate them and then present them to Doctor. If you have a question about something he has not spoken about so far, you can bring it up to him so that we discuss. Thank you.
I'm waiting for your questions.
Okay, Doc.
Okay, if there's a question, then the question can come up. Otherwise, if whilst we are waiting for a question, Doc, you can continue if there's no question. But when there's a question, then the question comes up. Thank you. Now,
Okay.
please proceed, organizer.
Okay. So you age of your spouse and children more. So there's a kind of emotional feeling that helps you to cope with stress of life. You have fun and share your feelings. Don't bottle up your emotions. Share your feelings, and you try to be independent, financially independent. there are some things you need to cut out of your life. So I'm not saying you shouldn't help others, but don't make yourself the only source of hope for others, because which you may also need help. So judge your goals here realistically and kiss your spouse often. Then keep a positive attitude always. Attitude determines your attitude. About everything in life, keep a positive attitude, because it will determine how far you will go in life. Love your spouse, children, and siblings unconditionally. Leave work at work. Yeah, hell. So learn to separate work time, from personal time. Some of us, that's what we do. We still bring the issues at work, we still bring it home. We will try as much as possible. Then meditate, eliminate worries, makes you focus your attention on your life goals and for creative problem solving. Say no. Yeah, we have to accept these 3 principles when you want to say no. You can't do everything. You need to know that you can't do everything. You need to that's why there is room for specialization. There is room for division of labor. Don't undertake a task you will not complete. So you need to evaluate whatever. I like making reference to Bible, because I'm a good Christian. I like making reference to Bible. The Bible says, which among you want to build a castle will not plan, so that when he starts and he can't complete, he will not be making mockery of him. So you can see him, he started and he couldn't finish it. So you must not make commitment that is not consistent with your life. So it's very, very important. Presence of presence. So when invited to events, we are not supposed to be at every event with the way, in fact, what pandemic and the lockdown taught us, some of us have thrown them to the dustbin of history. So it's not every event that you ask. If you don't have time to be present there, you can send your presence. Consider your presence or your present that is needed. So do not procrastinate. Don't put off on tomorrow what you can do today. So live for the present moment, because the past is gone forever. So no good driver will drive forward by looking in the rear mirror. So organize your plans and actions. Use a calendar on your handset. Use a to-do list every day. Most of us are culprits of this. We just live the day as it comes. Okay? So use reminder on your smartphones. So whatever method you choose, make sure you organize your tasks. Q, that has to do with kids, or reduce alcohol and smoking. All those bad habits, quit them. So relationship, be grateful for good relationship. Cut off toxic relationships. Toxic ones that are not make your make you to be emotionally stable. And try as much as cut them off. Sleep well for 6 to 8 hours. Depends on you. Some people are short sleepers. If they sleep for 2 to 4 hours, they are okay. But if you are not in that category, sleep and make sure you are refreshed when you wake up in the morning, so that you're able to face the day's task. And spiritual intelligence is not by power of mind, by spirit. So time management is also very important. Acquire time management. So you must know how to set challenging life goals. Yes, set challenging life goals. That is why a lot of people are committing suicide nowadays. You see all around them, you see success around them, but you still wonder why did they decide to take their own lives? Because there is a kind of feeling you have when you achieve the goals you set yourself. There is a low mood that you have. So all this why these are the things I've been wasting all my time on. So some people tends to tip them to suicidal ideation. So understand things from the other person's point of view. Live a win-win life. So yeah, the person on the left seeing this figure as 6, the other one on the right seeing it as 9. So just because you're right doesn't mean I'm wrong. So just have seen life my own side. So then B has to do with vacation. Take as many weekend vacations before your annual leave. Yeah, weekend vacation is very important. We have Saturday and Sundays. And most of us, we use the Saturday for Owolabi. We call it Owolabi in this part of the world. We use it to attend so many. So by Sunday, we use it for religious activities. Before you know it, Monday has already come. Now look as if you never had 2 days off. So must be very careful. Worry less. What you cannot control, it makes no point to worry about them. So express yourself to the fullest. Know what you want specifically and go for it. Then yearly goal setting is very important. Yes, it's very important. At the same time, I need to let us know that we use Gregorian calendar. In the other part of the world, they don't use Gregorian calendar. Indians have their own calendar. The Chinese have, the Ethiopians have. But the most important thing is that we need to know that time goes, time moves, and we move with time. So we need to know this. Zest for life. Live your life to the fullest every day. So try to live your life. You need to just write a letter to your problem and release your emotion. Write a letter to your problem. Is the tripartite nature of man. We are made of spirit, soul, and body, mind, body, and spirit. So the mind has to do with our mental health, the body has to do with our physical health, and the spirit, spiritual health. In the center of it is our meaning and purpose for life. So we must keep everything healthy. Spiritual intelligence. I think I wouldn't need to bother out so much. This the latter part has like a summary of what I've been saying all this while, how to improve your mental health. So it's like a summary. So as we are rounding up, I'm taking us back to where we started from. Are you really maximizing your potentials? I'm getting this from the definition of mental health. Are you productive at work, at home and work? Are you coping with daily stress of life? Are you contributing to your community? Are you managing your thinking and feeling, that's emotions, adequately? Can you initiate and sustain relationships? Can you manage your stress spiritually and otherwise? So these are the questions for us. So these are the benefits of developing adequate mental health. So have you learned anything? This is the last slide I'm putting it for us. We are in this world to be happy. We must acquire all dimensions of health to keep us permanently happy and resolve stressful situations. We must continue to develop ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially to self-actualize and enjoy beauty and quality of life. We must consciously find ourselves into the right path of life. Thank you so much for your audience. So
thank you, Doc. Okay, so we'll take the questions now. So there are 2 questions in the chat so far. And the first one is there a laboratory investigation that can determine the level of stress hormones a person has? And then the next one, is it advisable to use medication like sleeping tablets to manage stress?
Yes, the first question, yes, there are some laboratories that can do that. The level of cortisol. Cortisol is also known as stress hormones in the body. And the excessive accumulation of these usually have a negative impact on both the mental and physical health. So there's a way you can do that. Even before you do that, you know right inside you that's mentally that you are not right. You are not right. Even before the result comes out, you have. So that is why you need to work on yourself. So the second question is saying that what's the second question? Sorry, I think the charts have left the charts.
The second question is asking that.
Okay, it's advisable to use sleeping pills and other medications.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not advisable. The reason is because that's what we call drug tolerance. One of the indices of addiction or dependence, because most of these sleeping pills have addictive tendencies. All these benzodiazepines like diazepam, Valium, what do they call it? Mogadon. So they have addictive tendency. So to get to a time your body will get so much addicted to it that without taking them, you'll be able to have sleep. You will be able to have good sleep. And at the end of the day, you discover the kind of sleep you even have are induced sleep. You are inducing this sleep with this medication. These ones are not natural sleep. Sometimes you wake up, you are not feeling refreshed. You sleep. People that are around, maybe your spouse that you sleep on the same bed, will tell you, you sleep well. Or you wake up in the morning, you say that you have what we call subjective insomnia. Say, I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep. But it's like, you are even snoring. You slept well now. Okay, no, I don't think I'm sleeping. So it's because you induced the sleep. So it's not usually advisable. There are some other means of helping ourselves, like those means. You can see that I didn't mention sleeping cleaning nuts, sleeping medication, or not. So exercise. The exercise that we have released the peak at the end of me. Try to explore that option. And some other chemotherapy and the likes. Try to do that. All those other options. Then psychological options also. You cannot get addicted to psychological therapy, but you can get addicted to psychological therapy, especially to medication. So there's a question here, like with the traffic situation in Lagos these days, where people have to wake up early and spend considerable time in traffic before to get to the office and experience same going back home. How does one manage such stressful situations? Yes, if you are part of this, you are part of this presentation earlier, I said that we should maximize our weekend vacations. Those 2 days you have in the weekend, please don't jam pack your Saturday and Sundays with activities. I know some of us belong to certain religious denomination that they believe that Sunday is meant for God, that you leave home very early. I think in my denomination is I'm a pulpit to that, especially the first Sunday of the month. You leave home very early in the morning because you want to attend workers' meeting. So you are in church first service, second service. After second service, you are into series of meetings. And then before you know it, you have Holy Communion service later in the day, and you get home. You don't get home later than maybe like 8, sometimes 8:30, sometimes 9 p.m. And before you know it, discover that the following day, you still have some other things you need to sort out against Monday or the following working days. So you should try as much as possible to say no to some things, because the worst thing that can happen to you is to offend your system and it's the kind of health issue that will be. So that's that. That's why I said that they are not all the occasions, especially on Saturday, that there are some that what you just need to send your presence. May not need for you to go there. Your presence may not be necessary. Your presence or your gifts that will be needed. So, any other question here?
I think there's a question that's asking that if the sleeping medications are not advisable, how about calming teas like chamomile tea? Are they safe?
Teas, green teas. Or what's the person saying?
Yeah, about the tea, the calming teas.
Yeah. They could be, but I don't know most of those teas. I don't know if they are adding some additives into it. But I know they are people talking about green teas. So that is a very good one. So
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah.
And there's someone asking a question about massage. The person said, sometimes I go for body massage when I perceive I am stressed, but lately we heard body massage is not good. Could you let us have your position on this, please?
I don't know who said that body massage is not good. I don't know what those people use, what is not, but I've been seeing a lot of videos on the Facebook, whereby some starting don't even know the content, you don't know the ingredients in those creams or balms they are using for the massages. That's what you know, but the massage on its own, part of the means of meditating. why those things, why the massage is being done, the part of meditating and take yourself out of life issues. Try to blank your mind. Try to be mindful. Trying to be mindful and not allow your mind to be full of so many issues. So that would be the opportunity to do that. That's really the opportunity to do that. So I won't say outrightly that it's not good that God decides to say that. And we also need to know that there's something like things are outrightly bad. It's like a clock that stops the right twice. So, but if the main reason for saying stop is because of content of the, so yeah, they look into that. Or the conditions at which those massages are being done. For someone like me, I won't allow my spouse to be under a condition whereby you almost stuck naked and someone will be saying he's doing massage on her. So it may not be the, but besides that, it's other. How's that? Any other question from the audience?
Doc, I think that's the last question. If there are no further questions, Doc, I don't know if you want to give any closing statements and then we can wrap up, because I'm not seeing any other question.
Okay. Yeah, in the last 1.5 plus, talking about stress effect on mental health and then productivity. We know that everyone has one level of stress or the other. But we have different level of different threshold of absorbing shock from our stresses. Well, we discovered that most of the people who have mental health challenges, mental health issues, they've been trying to minimize the stressful conditions, especially when you take the psychodynamics of their histories. We call it psychodynamics in psychiatry. You take psychodynamics of their history, discover that these people have been trying to cope the stressful situation over time, but it got to a time that the wall of coping mechanism became wall of coping mechanism broke down, and they had a full-blown mental health issue. So this is coming to us this morning. You need to know that prevention is usually better than cure. In fact, I'm an advocate of preventive medicine. So that is what this is one of the reasons why I chose this topic. That we need to know our stress level and our coping mechanisms. And I know if we do this, have less issues, mental health challenges. In fact, the number of psychiatrists or psychologists that are available to treat mental health challenges now is nothing to write home about. And that is why we are looking at the possibility of talking to people, of getting them aware, let them know that all these things can be prevented, except some of the genetic ones that have genetic issues. The majority of the others can be prevented. So we should try as much as possible to take care of our mental health. We need to know that there is no health without mental health. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing this talk with us. So we are going to officially end today's session so that those who need to leave can do so. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Those who joined us from Ghana and those who have joined us from all across the continent and outside. I want to thank you for sharing your Saturday morning with us. Please note that these events by Silent Scream are organized periodically. We try to organize at least one every month. So in order to find out more about when and the next sessions will be held. You can follow our media channels, our Facebook, our LinkedIn, for more information about when we will hold the next sessions. And we'll also post the recording on YouTube so that anybody that wants to revisit can revisit it. In case you miss anything or you want to share with someone. Can also follow our website, silencescreamfoundation.org. If you do need mental health assistance or you like to speak to a mental health professional, please note that you can let us know through any of those channels, through our websites, through our social media, and then we'll link you to Doc or any other mental health professional that you would like to speak to. Yes, I think that's it. So thank you all and have a wonderful weekend. And we'll have a free-flowing discussion session after. So anybody who has any comments or discussion that they want to unmute and bring up, you can do so. But for now, the session is officially ended. Thank you once again, Doctor, for joining us today.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hello, Doc.
Hello.
Oh, good afternoon, sir. How are you, sir?
Oh, fine, sir.
Yeah, please, may I quickly have your contribution or resolutions towards this and be confused internally, and I say let me mention this. It
Okay.
has to do with the good effect of stress on
Yes.
the balance of the well-being. It said stress itself, enhances some level of performances in the body.
Yes.
Because it releases some adrenaline, which in turn gives energy back to the body system.
Yes.
So I'm trying to balance this exaggeration. Does that mean stress is relative to performances and is important for release of adrenaline, which is seen as one of the boosters for functional body system? So can you give it a shot, Doc?
Yeah, for example, when we were in school, we prepare adequately well for exams because the level of stress hormones at that point in time initially is increasing. So the more the more the stress, the more the performance level goes. That is what, but at that point in time, we call it eustress, EUSTRESS.
Okay.
But you can see that I showed a graph, a line graph. I call it Yerkes Dodson curve. Yerkes, that is YERKES, Dodson, DODSON. So, which means that initially, with the increase in the level of stress is directly proportional to the increase in level of performance until that elastic limit is reached, just like what we were taught in Hooke's law in physics. So when the elastic limit is reached, then there will be law of diminishing return will now set in. So instead of with the increase in level of stress, the performance will be declining. That's at the point of distress. That's what the point of distress.
Okay.
So I said, that's why I said that nothing is outrightly bad. Stress, initially, stress could be a means of us increasing our performance, but most time we don't know when we are going to cross the line.
Exactly.
So that's just because there's a thin line there. So
okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
So, Doc, I have a question. So
Okay.
in your experience, where do we get the most stress from? Which one causes the most stress? Is it at work, at home, among colleagues, at school, etc.? Where is it the most where
Yeah.
the strongest, and what is there anything that we can do to sort of like help manage at this time?
This question is relative. It's relative and it's not absolute. Some people, they have good colleagues at work they work with, to the extent that you always look forward to the following day to be at work. Like some of them, not that I noticed when we were in school. Someone was telling me that do you know that a lot of professors, a lot of those lecturers, they stay back in their office to do some researches because their whole environment is not good enough. So the negative aspect of their life, they are using their work to cope with the negative issues that they have at home. Especially if someone marries a not too good spouse, a spouse that's a nagging spouse, you may think it's better for you to be at work, even when you don't have any reasons to be at work, when you even need to be at home to go and relax. Some people, it's when they are in the midst of their friends, they get relaxed. That's why you see a lot of people in the clubs, staff clubs, hotel premises, because they know that when they get home, things are not really too good at home. So they get home late, just go and sleep, wake up very early in the morning, they leave for work. Whereas some people is in their place of work, where that's where the problem is. To the extent that the moment it is Friday, say, thank God it's Friday. And the moment Sunday evening like this, tomorrow I'm still going back to that work. Some of them will be even looking depressed and dejected. So it's something that is relative. It depends on individuals. But the most important thing is that we should try as much as possible to be the right person ourselves, so that we'll be able to create the right environment around ourselves. So, and if the environments are what we cannot affect one way or the other, maybe perhaps because of our level, maybe you have a boss, and you can't afford, you have a boss that is very wicked, that is not too good to relate with, and you can't afford to resign that appointment at that point in time. Try as much as possible to just know how you can cope with such an individual. You take time to study the person and cope with him. Along the line, you may even be the best of friends. I've been in such a situation before, and I know today, because I took time, maybe because I'm into psychiatry, maybe that's what helped me, I can't say. But I took time to study the person, and then I remember by God's grace, I'm a parish pastor in a church. I remember one of our colleagues said that one of our senior pastors, he said that if they are not going to change him, they are going to transfer him from that zone to another zone, they will have to transfer the person, because they know, the provincial pastor knows that what it will sound like we should change zonal pastor. So they had to do a kind of internal arrangement whereby the parish of that person was indirectly taken from that zone. So what it means is that because he knew that working with that man, because when you are in the spiritual setting, that's one of the ways you can cope, where you can enjoy yourself, but it's the other way around. So he discovered that it was really a means of torturing him mentally. So he had to raise alarm. So also I want us to know that if things are not really working well, we shouldn't bottle the emotion. Let people know, important people, significant people that will be able to effect changes. Let them know. So that is that.
Thank you. Doc, I have another question. So how would you know whether somebody, a work colleague or a loved one or a friend, is going through a mental health problem if the person doesn't share with you?
And how would you go about, or if you know, and the person has not formally come to share it with you, how do you go about helping that person when the person has not openly shared their possibility?
Okay, the first aspect of it is that it begins with you. It depends if you have a relationship with such an individual. The person considers you as a friend, he or she will be able to disclose. But if the person sees you as the one that builds the wall of defense around himself or herself, maybe he may not be open to sharing his emotional feelings or what is going through, especially when it has to do with home front. The belief is that whatever is happening at home stays at home. You should be able to, whatever the issue is, be able to really allow the third party to know about it. But there are some times that you need to scream out, that you don't need to bottle the emotion. You need to let people know, because we've heard cases of intimate partners violence, whereby the other party, the only time people started hearing issues was the time the other party has died. In this part of Nigeria, I think last year there was a case of one celebrity that died. It was after her death that people started bringing out the issues that she has been having with her spouse. That they had to the extent that they had to prosecute the man. So the issue is that when the person sees you as a friend, I don't see him or her holding back, telling you. So try to the thing. But despite that, no matter how you try to make yourself friendly, there are some people naturally they are the melancholic type. Their temperament is the melancholic side, or the phlegmatic type. They don't tend to come out to let people know. Or like when you're talking about choleric people. So these people, you need to really move very close to them to withdraw them from their shell. If you have such a case, you can read it from social individuals face. Okay, I think we are not really doing well. What's the problem? The first day they may deny that everything is okay. Second time they may, but by the time it's getting to the third time, you say some of them will even burst into tears. That's great. This is what I've been going through. So that is why you need to try as much as possible to see your brother or your sister. Because you may not be able to forgive yourself. You will discover that person eventually commits suicide, or the person eventually is a victim of homicide. Not be able, because you have telling yourself, what I have an test of suspicion. Why didn't I call the person? Or why didn't I try to present myself to him or her to hear his or her own side of the story? So that's that. Any other opportunity for interactive session?
Doc, I'm not seeing anybody unmuting, so I think that might be it. Okay, there's a question in the chat, but it's about the good stress and bad stress. I'm not sure if that was what you already addressed. The person is asking how to cope with some major stresses in life that are no one's fault, like the death of a loved one, divorce, moving, major illness or injury, or job loss. And then the person is also asking if there's good stress or bad stress.
Yes, I think we've discussed that.
Yes.
Maybe the person joined us late, and then the coping with the. I want us to know that most of the time when there is a threat, or a loss. When there's a threat, perhaps to our lives, maybe a serious diagnosis was made, one of the first things that come in is anxiety. But if reality is now dawning on us that this thing is becoming so real, then depression can set in. So the threat leads to anxiety. The loss on its own leads to depression. And these are important mental health issues. So coping with them, there are some of them we can strive to cope with them based on some of the things I've said in the presentation on our own. There are some that we may not be able to cope on our own. So that means we need to seek the help of a therapist. When we're talking about therapists, we're talking about clinical psychologists, talking about psychiatrists, as the case may be, So, or just a mere counselor, or the help of your religious leaders too, if they have time for you, and can solve the whole problem, can be a solution to the problem. So the issue is that one time or the other in life, we face one level of stress or the other, especially the ones you mentioned, the period of grief and the reactions that follow the grief, and then the adjustment disorder, especially like the ones I mentioned, like pregnancy, childbirth, moving from one home to another, one place to another. Even if you are migrating, especially for example, you are migrating from one extreme end of weather to another. For example, in this part of Africa, we are in the tropical region. Thereby, the major problem here may even be, but when you move to somewhere in Europe, Northern Europe, be like Scandinavian countries, the problem over there will be cold. That is why people have a lot of people over there have depression, seasonal, there's what called seasonal affective disorder over there, because the weather condition is not what they are used to. It's not what they are used to, whereby you have just 2 months of the year as the summer. So those could be the issues. But the most important thing is that try to create that inner wall of defense, so that we will be able to find ourselves consciously in the right path of life. I hope I answered that one to your satisfaction. If there are still area of clarification, just let me know.
Okay, thank you, Doc. I think that's it. I don't see any other questions. So thank you so much for today. Thank you everyone for joining us and staying with us. And have a good weekend. Thank you.
And you too.
Thank you. We thank the doctor for all that he has taught us. Thank you. Àwọn ọmọ yẹn lè kàn jùlọ wọn generator.